What's going on, fight fans? It's your host Sebastian, and welcome back to the Boxing Tip. Well, I gotta say, didn't see that coming, but you know, it is what it is. Happy retirement, BHOP. I know this isn't the way you probably pictured yourself going out. It sure as hell ain't the way I pictured you going out, but it's boxing, so anything can happen. I want to go ahead and congratulate Joe Smith Jr. for a decent performance. Spectacular finish, though, definitely. Now, as you guys know, Joe Smith Jr. did knock out Andre Fonfara in his last fight. A pretty credible opponent. And then he goes ahead and knocks out Bernard Hopkins, who's a pretty credible name. I'm not going to take away too much credit for Joe Smith Jr. for saying that Bernard Hopkins is 51 going on 52 years old. That just wouldn't be right for me to do, but it is a thing to keep in mind when you're talking about this fight. Now, Bernard Hopkins, you know, he's not the fighter he was 10 years ago, or the fighter he was when he was still competing in the middleweight division. You know, he's a future Hall of Famer, man. He has a lot of accolades. He's accomplished a lot in the sport, and that is something, you know, as boxing fans that we should be proud of and that we should be thankful for from BHOP. Personally, I was never the biggest Bernard Hopkins fan. I did watch his fights, you know, like with De La Hoya, Jones Jr., you know his bigger fights, Trinidad, you name it. But nevertheless, he was a little bit kind of out of my radar. I don't know. I always just kind of was looking in a different direction. Not for any particular reason, just wasn't a fighter that I paid a lot of attention to. But that's just my take on Hopkins. But he's made a big impact on the sport, no doubt. You know, he's regarded as one of the best middleweights of all time, set numbers of records, and stayed in the sport. God, I don't know. Maybe he's like the oldest man to win and defend a title. He's jumped up multiple weight divisions to win titles. So, like I said, he's accomplished a lot in the sport. Joe Smith Jr., you know, he's kind of on the come up. You know, he's got the first round victory over Fonfara, and now he's got the 8th round KO over Bernard Hopkins. So it's really interesting to see where Joe Smith Jr. is going to go next. And, you know, I was watching the fight. My dad's a huge Bernard Hopkins fan, and when he seen that happen, you know, he kind of got a little, not an emotional, but he kind of got a little bothered. He chuckled a little bit because he thought it was funny, but you know, it's not so much of a laughing matter that on Hopkins' retirement fight he gets knocked out of the ring. It's a little ironic, so there is some, you know, ironic comedy going on there, but you know, nevertheless, this takes nothing away from what Bernard Hopkins done in his entire career. Even me not being the hugest fan of Bernard Hopkins, you know, even I can admit to that. But yeah, my dad got a little bit. He said, you know, he's like, man, I've been watching Bernard Hopkins for 20 years, it feels like, and I never thought I would see him go out in this fashion. And you know, I just told my dad, I was like, look, Pops, you've known about him more longer than I have, but you know, you stick around for so long, you know, anything can happen to you. You know, comes a time where it becomes harder and harder and harder to compete, especially with guys who are half your age. So, but Bernard Hopkins has my respect for his career. But what he doesn't really have my respect on too much is kind of the like denial that he was going through. You know, I don't know if he's seen the replays. I can't really recall if he's seen the replay or not. You know, he was claiming that he got pushed out of the ring. And what pissed me off really was that Max Kellerman interview. Max Kellerman has been a boxing commentator for HBO for God knows how long now. You know, he's on media. You know, he's a big name. He's a big name in boxing. Why the fuck can't you just be straight up with the guy? You've seen it. He's seen the fight. He's seen the replays. Just tell him he got knocked out of the ring. You know, don't pussyfoot around just because it's Bernard Hopkins. I mean, yeah, I know he's a legend in the sport, but dude, that is no reason for you to sit here and cater to his denial. You know what I mean? I didn't like that. That fucking pissed me off a little bit, man. I mean, I'm Max Kellerman. You ain't my favorite commentator, I actually prefer Jim Lampley over him. A lot of people probably be like, what the fuck, you're crazy. Yeah, I might be, but if I had to pick a preference, I could really care less for commentators, but I'd rather listen to Jim Lampley talk because the dude like openly admits that he's not like the biggest like analyzer of the sport. He just commentates. He's commentating, he's commenting on fights, he says what he thinks. I'm sure he has a job like everyone else, and I know he's in there for he's kind of like the hype man for the HBO fighters. No big deal. That's what he's getting paid for. Max Kellerman gets slandered for the same exact thing. I feel like it's a little bit true when it comes to Max Kellerman, but I don't want to talk about that shit for too. That shit gets on my nerves. I just didn't like that. Oh well, I think his arm was fucking. His forearm might have been on you, when clearly not any other body part from Joe Smith Jr. was touching Bernard Hopkins. The only thing that was touching him was his punches. But just say it like it is, dude. Give a fuck who you're talking to. Just say how it is. And it's simple as that. And then Bernard Hopkins, like I said, I don't know if he's seen the replays or not. I'm not sure if they showed it to him or whatever. They did the interview in like the dressing room, so I'm not sure if he's seen it, but if he did, I hope he changes his statement and is like, oh well shit, I thought he pushed me out, but I guess not, whatever. I got knocked out of the ring. Ain't nobody gonna fault him for it. I sure as hell ain't. But what I am gonna talk shit about is him denying it. But it's really not that big of a deal. It's just little shit like that bothers me. Your pride. And then not to mention his track record too, it doesn't really help him out. But who am I to speak on that? Who am I to really sit here and make too many accusations? I'm entitled, just like every other YouTube channel and every other boxing fan out there. I'm entitled to say whatever it is I feel, but my word's not ultimate. My word is not the final word. It is not, just because I say it is doesn't make it such, you know what I mean? But yeah, I didn't want to spend too much time talking more. I really want to just kind of talk about Joe Smith Jr. Bernard Hopkins, man, retire, dude. Retire. Thank you so much for your contribution to this sport. I really appreciate you. I really do admire your boxing career. Never was a huge fan of you. Not my taste, man, but hey, I still recognize you as an all-time great and one of the best middleweights to ever live, one of the most accomplished middleweights. But for Joe Smith Jr., the one thing I wanted to really talk about when it comes to Joe Smith Jr. is his next opponent, because he's not retiring. He moves on. He's got 2 good names under his belt now. It's time to talk about the next opponent he's gonna face. Me personally, he's climbing his way through the WBC ranks, got the Onyx belt. I think he's about a fight away from being Adonis's mandatory. That would be a really exciting fight to watch. You got the young East Coast kid, the common guy, as people are, that's what I see people referring to him as, the common guy. He's climbing through. He's got 2 good names under his belt. He's got 2 good names, and no one really gave this kid a chance, especially for the BHOP fight. I think they even had him like a serious underdog against Fanfara too. But him going up against Adonis Steven, yeah, he is the underdog in that fight for sure for me. Adonis has an atomic bomb of a left hand, and he's a pretty decent boxer. I'm not going to go too deep into a breakdown and prediction just yet. Who knows if that fight will even happen. Plus, it seems like Joe Smith Jr. is on the HBO network now, so we can talk about some HBO light heavyweights. Of course, we have Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev. Not sure if they're going to rematch or not. Personally, I don't know if you've seen my Maxwell Bear video, but you guys know I'm not a fan of Andre Ward. I tried not to talk about him that much, so I'm not going to talk about him at all. If they make a fight, big whoop, I will watch it, but I could really fucking care less about it. But him against Sergey Kovalev, now see, that's a pretty interesting matchup. Kovalev, good boxer, very good boxer, arguably the hardest puncher in boxer, along with Triple G and probably Anthony Joshua. Different divisions. It's hard to say who the pound for pound hardest puncher is, but arguably those guys can be mentioned, you know what I'm saying? So I would not mind seeing Joe Smith Jr. versus Kovalev. It's a decent matchup. We got the hard-hitting kid, East Coast, American Irish, Joe Smith Jr. taking on the scary, very talented, big puncher Kovalev. To me, that's a marquee right there. I think that'll sell itself, really, you know. But I guess we'll see if Kovalev and Andre Ward. Here where Andre Ward's talking about retirement. Bitch, no, I'm just kidding. But no, I'm just fucking around. I don't mean that. But for whatever reason, if Kovalev doesn't get that fight, I'd like to see him against Joe Smith Jr. I think that'd make for a pretty interesting bout. Action-packed, at the very least. Competitive, who knows? I haven't seen enough of Joe Smith Jr. I don't know what's up his sleeve. For all we know, a fucking kid could box. We'll just have to see what he's made of. So far, I'm liking him. I think he's a pretty cool guy. He seems really humble. You know, I was watching some of the post-fight press conference or whatever, and he seems humble. Doesn't talk too much. You know, he's kind of playing around with his fingers. Looks like he's trying to get used to being up there, you know, like he's never been there before, you know. I don't know if he's still doing construction, probably not, but former construction worker, you know, an average Joe, just like me and you know, hardworking kid, now earning a living and doing something that he loves to do, which is what we all want, right? So I admire him. You know, he seems like a humble dude. Got an autograph from BHOP after the fight for on some gloves, so you could tell that, you know, even though he is the victorious fighter, he still remains humble in victory, which is a good quality to have, you know. You don't see that a lot. Well, I mean, you know, there's sportsmanship, but you don't see a lot of genuine humbleness. So I like that about Joe Smith Jr. You know, he's a people's champ. I could say that much. So I really like to see there's an Alexander Gvozdyk matchup. Now, you guys know how high a regard I hold Alexander Gvozdyk. You're damn right I'm picking him to beat Joe Smith Jr. if they fight. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be biased. Gvozdyk is operating on a whole nother caliber of boxing talent than Joe Smith Jr. But, hey, you can't count Joe Smith Jr. out, right? You know, that's 2 times we can't count him out, so I definitely won't count him out. I just said I'm picking Gvozdyk to win. And if not Gvozdyk, I mean, you know, we got Artur Beterbiev. We have Sullivan Barrera. He just knocked out Shabransky. We have Shabransky. I don't know what the fuck was wrong with him on the Barrera fight, but we do have Shabransky. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I don't know if he's still fighting at light heavyweight or not. You know, he had a victory recently, but I made a video about him and Canelo might be in the talks for a catchweight or some, you know, big fight by name, not by competition type of fight. But yeah, you know, the light heavyweight division is definitely interesting. There's some really interesting things happening in the light heavyweight division. There's a lot of controversy surrounding the light heavyweight division as well. You know, the light heavyweight division's really starting to oh, and we got Bivol. Man, there's a lot of good fighters at light heavyweight. Shit. Well, that makes it all the better, man. We got an entertaining division. I'm just waiting for all these fighters to kind of just come up and surface, man, and then I want to see, you know, the unifications. Well, even though what's his name holds 3 belts and Adonis Stevenson holds the other belt, I'd like to see that unification match. That would be pretty fucking cool, in my opinion. Totally would watch it. Don't know who would win given some circumstances. It's not very easy for me to pick a winner. I mean, I could pick a winner, but even if they win, they probably won't win. Hint, hint. But no, I'm tired. I'm talking shit, man. I'm kind of grouchy. But yeah, man, let me know what you guys think, man. The light heavyweight division is popping. That's for damn sure. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what fights you want to see be made at light heavyweight other than Kovalev Ward rematch. I want to know who you guys want to see Joe Smith Jr. fight next. And let me know what you think about Joe Smith Jr. What do you think about him as a person from what you've seen, and what do you think about him as a fighter? Now, I know he's not like an ultra spectacular talent, but man, give the guy some credit. He has 2 pretty good recent accomplishments. You gotta factor in that Bernard Hopkins is, you know, like 52 years old, you know, so don't give him too much credit. But, you know, give the man his shine. Let me know what you think about him. Also, subscribe to the channel. You know, I've been trying to do a little bit longer videos, you know, for some of you guys who like to kind of hit play and chill and just hear me talking. I don't know if anybody really does that, but I do it, you know, like with Thunderdome's channel. I like that he makes 2-hour fucking long videos, man. When I have to drive far, I don't play music. I listen to Thunderdome. So shout out to Thunderdome, by the way. So yeah, I try to mix it up with the length of these videos. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys want shorter videos? Do you guys want longer videos? You know, it's always a personal preference. I could always do both, depending on the subject. When it comes to the division as a whole, when something significant happens in a division, that's usually when I want to make the longer videos. When it's just a little shred of news like the Canelo Chavez rumor, you know, that's a short video, not much to say there because it's just a rumor, or it's just talk right now. Also, introduce someone to boxing, guys. I can't stress that enough. The boxing could always use another fan. Steer them which way ever you want. You know, if you have a favorite fighter, let them peep out your favorite fighter. It doesn't matter how they become a boxing fan. Make them a boxing fan. We could always use more fans. And also like the video if you liking what I'm talking about. Show me some love. And I will talk to you guys on the next one. I am done making videos for today. I need sleep. But you guys don't really care about my problems. Totally understand. But like I said, I'll talk to you guys on the next one, man. Peace out.